Salutations from the hills of Darjeeling in the Himalayas. My good friend from Argentina, Diego Monachetti, has asked me to give my thoughts on 4 relevant topics today. The first one is neurogastronomy. It's a new science with very old connections and roots, and I'd like to share with it today. Neurogastronomy and tea. As per Wikipedia, neurogastronomy is a study of flavor perception and the ways it affects cognition and memory. This interdisciplinary field is influenced by the psychology and neuroscience of sensation, learning, satiety, and decision making. Areas of interest include how olfaction contributes to flavor, food addiction and obesity, taste preferences, and the linguistics of communicating and identifying flavor. Humans have 350 smell detectors in the brain, far fewer than dogs, whose receptors number 1,200. And by God, elephants, no wonder they have such a memory for flavors and locating food and danger, at over 2,000. Neuroscientists, physiologists and chefs are eagerly hoping that research advances in neurogastronomy can make it possible one day to manipulate taste perceptions neurologically. Gordon Shepherd, the father of neurogastronomy, started studying the sense of smell and odor by neurological circuits in the brain decades ago. We are at this crossroads after so many years of research. The olfactory system detects both environmental smells as well as retronasal smells. It's a chemoreception that forms the sense of smell. Olfaction has many purposes, such as detection of hazards, pheromones, and food. It integrates with other senses to form the sense of flavor. When and how is one's sense perception formed? You must keep in mind that all odors and tastes are abstract. How does one convert abstracts to a reality check? From abstract to something factual and tangible. As babies, we are taught by our mothers to identify smells and flavor profiles to store in our brain. This is done repeatedly, patiently, and with heaps and heaps of love. Hence we know what is sweet, what is meat, what is a potato, what is an apple. One is taught to recognize and evaluate and store in a memory bank. So when we eat or drink anything, the stored data is swiftly reflected back to cognition, enabling one to translate it as a safe, nutritious food or any other source. The potential of neurogastronomy is endless. It's opening up new vistas of opportunities for cures as well as opportunities, jobs. Manipulating taste might improve cancer patients' quality of life. When you lose the sense of taste, it can be life-threatening. A dysfunction of taste perception may impair the quality of life by affecting appetite, obviously. Body weight and psychological well-being are also interrelated. There are several factors that may affect taste perception, including medication, nutrition, lesions in the oral mucosa, prolonged exposure to radiation and chemotherapy, smoking, chronic hepatitis, renal dysfunction, aging, and perturbation in hormonal secretions. So, manipulating these taste profiles through neurogastronomy can help us eliminate and obviate most of these ailments which are very crippling to us. Changes in taste particularly important in diseases like cancer, which is one of the main causes of morbidity and mortality throughout the world today. Meat, for instance, tastes like sawdust or chewing. Chemotherapy is notorious for that. Neurogastronomy can eliminate this and make a cancer patient eat his food easily. In the near future, researchers will be able to identify patterns, different odors. That could be a starting point for odor images perceived by the brain. Then it's possible to trick the brain to think that broccoli tastes like chocolate and help patients with low appetite to regain motivation to eat. Hoping for the day science changes the way food tastes by manipulating neurological signals inside the subject's body rather than changing characteristics such as cooking styles, feeding environment, or the food itself. So, the potential neurogastronomy has is to be a surrogate mother for adults instead of to alter food perceptions, like a mother was when we were cradled in a mother's lap. So this is a new era of alternative healing and opportunity. At this point, I'd like to share an experience, personal one, that highlights the importance of neurogastronomy. When I came home from boarding school on holiday, my mother always had a lot of food prepared to welcome me home. The first time I came home as a 10-year-old, I was ravenous. But my mother noticed that I was scarcely touching the repast laid out before me. She asked why I was nibbling at the food. I was stupid enough to tell her that I didn't like any of it. I had a sensitive palate. I knew because I normally rejected most foods. But for being so honest, I got a resounding slap across my face. Then my ears were tweaked and she forced me to eat something. My hackle was up. I resisted. She kept on admonishing and punishing me till I sullenly acquiesced to a wish and swallowed some food. The next time I was wiser, and when I shared it with the German shepherds under the table when her back was turned. That way, my plate was clean and my mother was happy too. So, moral of the story, respect your children's preferences as they might grow up to be a tea sommelier. For them, actually rejection means they have a wonderful sense of smell and palate. This is what neurogastronomy is all about. Smells. Smell is detected by tiny hair-like nerves inside the nose. A cool generates mucus which blocks the odors from penetrating to that tiny hair-like sensors. A tongue is a wonderful receptor. It has over 3,000 taste buds. I've experimented 30, 40 years ago on the various zones and how it impacts our flavor profiles and thought processes. A tongue is a wonderful receptor. You'll be surprised that as a tea sommelier, I've been experimenting with the various bud flavor profiles in the tongue. It has over 3,000 taste buds. Tea tasters slurp the tea just so. Not very polite, I'm afraid, but that's what makes a good tea taster. Why? Because the slur activates the buds that send a signal of recognition to the brain via the nervous system. This enables prompt assessment of the tea. The same is applicable for any food or beverage assessment, wine sommeliers, etc. It is honed by constant training in spite, over and above, having a sensitive palate. Hence, recognizing this unique attitude We at Rimpocha source all the teas, herbs, spices and fruit from village communities in subcontinent of India that respect and nurture the flavor perception of the children from an early age. Thank you.